In this video, you will discover how to stop obsessive thinking rumination and how to overcome obsessive thinking anxiety. Hey, I'm Antia, founder and creator of the Magnetize The Man Method. And look, this is really not fun at all. So let's go ahead and dive right in and help you get right out of it. So secret number one is get out of future anticipation and storyland. Okay, so let me tell you what this actually means. Now, you may have watched a lot of shows, particularly we've watched a lot of reality dating shows, but you may have also noticed it inside of your girlfriends. Oftentimes we don't notice it so much inside of ourselves, coincidentally, right? And so, which is really like making up stories. And it could sound like, oh my God, this guy is so into me. We have such a great connection. Oh, I know he's the one. I know he knows that I'm the one, right? So you're creating all those stories. And look, that's all they are. They're stories, they're interpretations that has nothing to do with reality. Look, oftentimes we fill in the blank so much, right? This is like a fill in the blank addiction. You know, that you're completely coming up with something that's so far away from reality of what this guy had in mind that you're going to be so crushed and so disappointed when you actually see, well, wait a minute, between my interpretation and reality, there's worlds. So what can you do? So first of all, you can notice, okay, can I actually sort of prove it? So if there was a mouse in the wall, would the mouse on the wall be able to tell that he liked me? If she can't tell that he liked you by how much he talked to you, that he asked you out on another date, so very specific, you want to look for specificity, right? Congruency, alignment, right? And really I call this always like the reality language versus the non-committal language. So the non-committal language was like, I would do this, I try to do that, maybe we're going to do that soon. Right? So that is not what we're looking for. We're really looking for, let's go, let's meet tomorrow, 7 p.m. at Luigi's. Very specific, you see. Unless you have something very specific, you have a story. Also, be aware of future anticipation. Meaning, don't see yourself walking down the aisle wondering how does your last name looks behind his first name, or how his friends will like you, or how you're going to get along with his mom, or how great of a trip you guys. So you may actually say, well, Antia, but he's talking about it. Yeah, you know what? Unfortunately, some men try it on. You know, that's not always fair, but it's like, you know, important for you to note, like they try it on and they're trying it on out loud. That's the problem, right? So, but nevertheless, they try it on unless they say the ticket is booked. Here's the ring. Will you be my wife, right? Unless that is really following up with actions, let him just talk. It's a possibility. It's like he's trying it on. He's seeing how it fits. It's like a glove. It's a pair of shoes, right? But it doesn't mean he buys the shoes, okay? Keep that in mind. Secret number two is you are the source. So look, what oftentimes happens is when you become obsessive, right? It's like you're giving all your power away because you think the power lies outside of yourself, right? And so that's really important because like the obsessive thinking is really also coming from a place of fear. And so when you come from fear, you're obviously not coming from love. And that comes because you're not connected inside of yourself. Because when you're connected inside of yourself, you trust yourself, right? And when you trust yourself, you trust your body. You trust your emotions. So you're not being caught up in this addictive mental pattern versus having like intuition that tells you exactly what to do. Internal guidance that is in a flow. There is a rhythm, right? There's a cycle to this, right? Like you will be able to pick that up and leave that mental addiction behind. Secret number three is simply meditate. Look, I know, for some of you maybe like, well, Antia, I can't just like sit back and meditate and, I'm not that kind of person. I have a very fast brain, right? Well, then find your meditation that works for you, but find some way where you can give your mind rest, right? Where you can allow your body, your emotions to take over, where you can listen to your body, where you can feel all the different energies you have inside of yourself, right? Where you can feel into the clear knowingness that you may have, or you can feel into the sounds that you may feel, or the words that you may hear, or just the slightly different distinctions, how certain energies or circumstances or people feel, right? Little kids are really good with that. They're like, no, I don't want to say hi to this person. They don't have good energy, right? And so, but we forget all of that because we go sort of in this obsessive, compulsive thinking pattern that just makes things even worse. Secret number 4 is get out in nature. Look, what's really important in this particular moment is that you get grounded. Okay, so you have to just grab some earth, get on your feet, take off your shoes and feel your feet firmly rooted on the ground, right? The mind is higher up and the body's really coming into your body. Because what happens is you can't actually be obsessive compulsive and be grounded at the same time. When we go into this obsessive pattern, right, it's actually it's moving out, it's kind of looping out, you're losing control over it, right? And how you gain control is by moving the energy back down through your body into the earth, into what's tangible, right? Because think about it, thoughts can occur really fast and they can really be irrational and unreasonable, right? So there can be many different qualities to the thoughts that you have. But you want to actually slow that down, ground that into actions, right? So that's really important to keep in mind. And finally, secret number 5, which is don't try to stop it. Okay, so what do I mean by that? Well, look, when you go into this obsessive compulsive thinking, and it's that anxiety, it's that limbic part of your brain, right? It's sort of that survival part of your brain, right? It's so some call it the lizard brain that's running the show. Now look, that lizard brain is so old and it runs from the unconscious. It has so much power and has so much momentum and so much force. You can't simply stop it with willpower. That's never going to happen. So the first thing that I recommend for you is actually allow it to move through. So one way how you can allow it to move through is release the tension, release the anger, right? Because what happens is when you get so caught up in those mental patterns, that's highly aggravating. It's like fire inside of you, right? It builds so much intensity. And so what I recommend is actually finding a way to release that intensity, whether it be through what we call our expression sessions, where you actually use your voice and your body. It's almost like throwing a temper tantrum like your 5-year-old or the 5-year-old that you know in your neighborhood that knows exactly how to do that, right? So really going into your body and move the energy through, because what happens is that brain so desperately wants to feel the certainty, but at the same time, what happens is you get so caged in, almost like prisoned in, that this other part just wants to say get me out of here, right? Because it's so overwhelming for your entire system to be so obsessed, to check your phone every 5 minutes, to think about this guy, to stalk him on social media, right? To wonder what he looks like, when you guys walk down the aisle, right? It's so exhausting. And you know what? Actually, a part of you knows that it's not real. That's right. A part of you actually knows that it's a projection onto the wall. It's almost like a part of you knows that there's a shadow on the wall, that this is not the real person that's on the wall. That's not the real 3D person right in front of you. Right? And even now, now we're right now in a very interesting time of humanity. And so many of us are on Zoom and having all those conversations. And a part of us knows that we don't have this 3D person in front of us, right? So it's a very, very fine intelligence inside of ourselves. So keep that in mind as well. Don't try to stop it. Run it all the way through, right? But don't attach to a story. Just move the energy through, move the emotion through, whether it's anger, it's sadness, it's rage, it's joy. Well, oftentimes it's not joy when you're obsessing about something, right? But just move the intensity through your body, because that's actually what really wants to happen, okay? All right, so those are the 5 gifts and the 5 secrets on how to stop obsessive thinking and overcome obsessive thinking anxiety. So look, if you like this video, like, subscribe, share this video as well. And for those of you who are like, just more curious about yourselves, I invite you to come on the magnetizeyourman.com quiz. So hop on over, take your quiz, and see where are you scaling, what's going on for you, so you can attract that right man for you. So, all right, we're just hopping into the question of the day, which is, what things do you obsessively think about, and what are you going to do now to start letting that go? So you want to make a list, right? Like, what is it that you think about? Are you thinking about a certain person? Are you thinking about a certain job? Maybe you want a certain house. Maybe there's a certain health situation that you're looking at. Like, what's going on for you, right? Like, maybe you're thinking about your ex, right? So what are you obsessively thinking about right now? And what can you do to start letting that go? All right, ladies, this is it for today. Much love to you. I will talk to you next time. Mwah!